Welcome my people. Welcome siyabulisa sithi sanamkela. Namhlanje there's a couple of things I want us to talk about. One of those things will be to continue on the topic of AbaThembu, which we started previously. And then secondly is to just continue with our work of the indigenous identity of South Africa, which has been under attack lately. Everyone is claiming to be indigenous. People at the same time, while claiming to be indigenous, they are trying to push other indigenous people out of the mainstream of what it means to be indigenous. So we're gonna do that. One more song and then we start. Dlalani nandiyadlala lona bantwana begazi besele nditshilo namhlanje sawungena kubaThembu besele siqalile ke. We already started with AbaThembu. Part 1 of AbaThembu is already out. If you go to my YouTube channel, you should be able to see that. This is my channel. If you go to my videos, you guys should be able to see this is the AbaThembu video. Let's see if you can see it. This is the video on AbaThembu. Thembu and Gandre history. Amampondo kasibisidi.
My people,
We're discussing AbaThembu here.
Uzihlandlo died more or less in the if this man was
So this is part 1. Okay, if you want to watch, you can go and check part 1 on AbaThembu. Currently, we're going to do part 2. I'm not going to discuss something I already discussed in the previous session. I am not going to do that because we have limited time. I have to cover a lot of areas. So for now, we are going with the established history. I covered the meanings of names like Pomoyi, Eduma, names from back then. So we're gonna continue on that this week. But one last song and then we are. Kujambasa ke lona ngumsuthu lona ngumfene kuthiwa mfene zimabutho ahlukana akutshonilanga madoda kuhlathela ikhulu elingothiwa sele livutha lothiwa zimfene kuba imfene zibaninilo kuthiwa phala kuhle mfene ndini ngoba le ndlela iyehlela mabona bulawe ngathi ngumthakathi kuthiwa ngusanzanze sazonza kwathi umuntu ngujambasi ke inkomo zikaNtsilane inkomo zikabhulashe inkomo zikaBhushulaze kuthiwa ngumalilelwa zintombi zithi mfondini kawundizeke ndinguluncu ndingumwadla ndingumandwa afikela uhlangeni ndingundlazana ndinguzaba ndingumfene mazabiwe zabela abafokazi ndingusidulu ngubemhlophe ndingwakwamayikana wakwavimbisa kwakhwala emgodleni wakwageqa amatye wakwapheka iphemphemu neqhakupa ngenqawana wakwatheuka ngobulembi entabeni sincola ngomhluzi amanzi ekhona sehla ngomva elweni kujambase lowo ke umfene lowo kumsuthu lowo zalwa amanzothweni konyelenzi komaphango konqale konqangi nqanqasini koxham kowelo kogxuxa kuthiwa uyini bafazi bentsikizi lentsholo nayiphazamini ithabatha isidoda ngoma lehletyelo isifazi nguntsiva nkulu kayuthu nguntaba kahili ngusiqa somile somile zinazintshaba komo zikampiko zikamancamu zikamlawu. I'm not gonna take too long. I can go on for 30 minutes introducing myself. My people, this is AbaThembu. When you talk about AbaThembu, this is them. Ubhorom nazoke. Oh madoda. Ubhorom. Mukaranga is here, Mukoni. Mukaranga is here. Tell us, Mukaranga, does the music sound like Mpoho? Isn't it Mpoho like music from ZCC? I'm not sure. That to do with me. That's the thing, guys. You guys have bought into this white supremacist identity of universal blackness. What you need to understand, 5,000 years ago, every single human being on earth had melanin. I mean, every single human being on earth had melanin. Generally, every ethnicity was melanated 5,000 years ago. So there was no concept of black or white or green. It's a white supremacist construct of the 1600s from the Spanish Inquisition, from the Inquisition of Isabella and John of Spain and Portugal. This identity of whiteness really developed from there, and it's been used just to conquer and create classes in society. So you buy into that thing of being black, which is basically you are othering yourself in the space of white supremacy. Your blackness, it only exists because of whiteness. It doesn't exist in and of itself, because if you ask your ancestors, you wake them up, those who lived in the 1300s, ask them, guys, are you black? They'll be like, what the hell are you talking about? SabaThembu tina. We are Thembu. We are not these things that you're talking about. So if you guys are so obsessed with these identities that white people have given to you, don't bring that nonsense to me, because you get touched when I talk about Moors and you send me long emails because you want to debate Americans that you know, and you want to debate Europeans that the Moors went and civilized Europe. It's not going to change anything. Europeans came and conquered you. They came and stole from you. It's not going to change now. You're shouting at Europeans that you civilized them. It's not going to change anything. What you need to do is to invest in reviving who you are, advancing that, and teaching your children to love themselves and to remove themselves from white supremacist identities that were created to other all ethnicities, black, colored, and whatever else is in between. It exists as the other to whiteness. Without whiteness, these identities don't have space anywhere in the world. Your blackness has no place in the world, because 500 years ago, it was the Congolese who were selling the Congolese, the Nigerians who were selling the Nigerians to Europeans. It was the Tanzanians who were capturing Tanzanians, because there was no such a thing as Congolese or Nigerian or Tanzanian. They understood the differences that were there within different communities. So if you guys want to unite with Africa and all that, feel free to do so, but don't lie. You cannot unite with lies. Unite in truth that, look, Congolese, we know you guys sold your own people. We think it's a bad thing, but we believe that we can work together this time around. Don't lie and say, oh no, we come from Congo. No, you don't come from Congo. You have nothing to do with Congo. It doesn't matter if Congolese do traditions the same way you do. In fact, if I tell you the truth, all indigenous societies in the whole world have very strong similarities. If you understand Zulu culture, Xhosa culture, Pedi culture, and you go to Native American communities, I promise you, you will see a lot of similarities. You go to Japanese indigenous communities, you will see similarities. Does that mean you come from Japan? No, it doesn't. It simply means the ancient world had similarities. So, guys, you need to breathe and take a break. Stop sending me long emails that Nina Nizimos. If you are a Mo, be a Mo. Don't try to convince me. I know who I am. Nah. I know who I am, and I promise you, I know way more than you think about Moors. Way more. And they did not disappear such that you need to replace them. Moors have always been there. They will always be there. And it was not some rigid identity. Yes, initially it meant people from Western Africa, the Sahara Desert, and Northern Africa, who were generally dark-skinned people. Go to Chad, you can see them. Go to Senegal, you can see them. Go to Mali, you can see these people. Even in Sudan, because those regions were fluid back in the day. There were no borders. Those people were fluid, you know. Mauro. It meant black. And then they started to intermingle with Europe through Spain and Portugal. I mean, if you know how close Spain and Portugal is to Africa, you can see how those people mingled together. So you moved now from having just Mauro peoples. You had Tani Moors and Black Moors. Your Black Moors and Tani Moors, now the black ones are the Black Moors, the mixed race ones are the Tani Moors. And it kept on changing until the times of Leo Africanus, who himself was of Moorish identity but was more white. Anyway, that's not the point of today. The point I'm trying to make is that there's no need to inbox me because you are worried that now I'm talking about Moors. Oh man, no. The Moors that came to Eastern Cape came from India. It's not going to change. Whether you are worried that people are going to think Moors are not black, I don't give a damn what your worries. The Moors that came to Eastern Cape were taken from India. Moors got to India in the first place because the ones who came to Eastern Cape were from India. I'm not going to change that statement. Now you are worried because I said they come from India. That means you have an identity crisis now because you've been claiming Moors. So because I'm a trusted voice in terms of history, if I'm saying they come from India, that means I'm stripping away your constructed identity of Moors being black. I don't care. I don't give a damn if you have an identity crisis. Learn about who you are. AbaThembu. Now, AbaThembu. This is AbaThembu. Last week we looked at the lineages, and I did say that this week we're going to continue on that. But I wanted to use this as a visual aid, that when you talk about AbaThembu, we talk about multiple clans. Talk about amandungwana, talking about amaQiti, talking about the Maya people, talking about the Gawe people, amaGawe. We're talking about amadlomo, amahala, amahlanga, amajumba, etc. Last week I even touched on amajumba and their exploits in places like Gubenga and Kakadu and Ngangaho, in relation to the Ganga people and the Mampondomse and the Kako people. We mentioned 3 groups of indigenous societies that were operating on the fringes of established systems in those days. These groups were the Ganga people, it was the Kako people, and it was I believe the people of Ngiga, not the Xhosa Ngiga, another Ngiga who was, they call him Hottentot, but we don't have Hottentot, Tina. We have people. Those things of Hottentot don't work, but there's no Hottentot or Bushman here. There's people. We mentioned those groups. So this week I'm going to continue on AbaThembu. I'm going to continue on AbaThembu. So, last week I said this gentleman, Uhlanga. Someone is asking me to explain Mvulane. No, I explained Mvulane already last week. Go to my YouTube channel, Sunday Tugani. You'll find explanation from Mvulane there. So this gentleman, Uhlanga, in the early 1700s, he's challenging this gentleman, Udlomo, for the throne. Now Udlomo goes and asks his big brother, this gentleman, Undungwana, for assistance. Undungwana for assistance. What Ndungwana does is interesting, because Ndungwana realizes that, you know what, there's a group of warriors that we have here that are from the Drakensberg. And this group of warriors were dwelling in the Lesotho area for quite a while. How about we take this group of warriors and ask them to help? Now, this group of warriors were the people now known as amaMfene. So it says, now at that time, amaMfene came asking to be incorporated into the Thembu nation. They were duly received after their tribute had been accepted. It says Ndungwana was instructed to allocate sites to them. So these are my people now. This is late 1600s, early 1700s. And Ndungwana never returned from his mission. Instead, he remained with the strangers, my people, enjoying all the respect that was accorded to him. Remember, Ndungwana was the big brother. So when my people arrived amongst the AbaThembu, this was late 1600s. No, early 1700s or mid 1700s, because, mid 1700s. When they arrived, they were welcomed by the Ndungwana house. But my people are also found where? Amongst amaXhosa, amaGcaleka, amaRharhabe, all the way to the Cape Colony, my people were there. But this is the specific branch we have amongst AbaThembu, and I am from this branch directly. I'm from this branch that was based in Ngqakaqha, in a place known as Ngqakaqha. That's where my people arrived in Thembuland. But we moved to a place called Qanga, KwaNgqika. Now, let's move again and see how we aided in the battle of kingship amongst the AbaThembu. One uneducated individual was telling me, what did amaMfene ever do for the AbaThembu? I'm like, AbaThembu have a king today because of us. That's literally what we did. We went and won the war for AbaThembu. Don't ask me what we did here. We were warriors, nigga. It says here, then Nxekwa or Nxeko sent for Ndungwana, who duly arrived, accompanied by amaMfene. On seeing corpses lying all over, Ndungwana wanted an explanation for that. Nxekwa replied, your elder brothers have been killing each other, etc., etc. I don't want to know the nitty-gritties. There's a part I want to show you. It says now, Nxekwa replied, you go and fetch him then, my son. May your ancestors guide you and protect you. For if you are successful, today you and Dlomo have a bright future. Ndungwana and Dlomo met. The latter and his counselors were still stunned. When Dlomo had related all, he, which is Ndungwana, called out, arise! Arise! Fortunately, he was with his men of Sotho origin. They call us Msotho, not Basotho, but Msotho. That is our clan praise. He was with men of Sotho origin. Remember now, guys, there was no Lesotho in the 1600s, so there's no way we were from Lesotho. amaMfene. It says, they set out to attack. The skirmish did not last long. That means we defeated them very fast. We were not weak, Rona. You can see Robert Sobukwe. The Afrikaners were afraid of him. Hlanga's followers were forced to flee because the bone of contention was succession to the throne. It was generally said they must be expelled completely from this country. So basically, amaMfene were the ones who basically won the war for AbaThembu. It's literally written here by Mthembu himself. Now, I'm hearing a couple of questions. I want to touch on them. Someone is saying, amaMfene asengxakakha edutywa kugcaleka. Yes, I know those amaMfene. And then someone is also saying, ndihlala nawo apha eCacadu, ezinye items zabo confuse amaXhosa. Random user, uhlala nabani? Uhlala nabaThembu or namaMfene? The way you wrote suggests amaMfene. Because then if that's the case, I'm interested to hear some of the terms they use. amaMfene. If we still retained the old language, that would be very nice. AbaThembu, okay. All right. Yes, AbaThembu, Agiri, they spoke a different dialect. Do amaMfene from Kamata in Kofimvaba region come from this group of warriors? I believe so, yes. Yes, amaMfene, they are part of the Ndungwana. Particularly, they are, as you heard, they formed part of the Ndungwana clan. So you'll find them in the royal family of Ndungwana. Kofimvaba, in places like Chamama, amaMfeneni, etc., you'll find amaMfene there. Yes, kiba tweneng batho ba khiba lelimi lintsho ke ukhuma ditlhare ehena amaMfene. All right, indeed, random user, indeed. Ukujukutshela, ukukuruya, ukugqaya, thina sitsho apho sisuka khona. Random user, please inbox me. I want those words. We have to preserve those words. Like the word you said, ngami is a fireplace. You see, you find that's a Cham word because AbaThembu are Cham descendants. That's why when they tested Mandela's DNA, they found Cham, interestingly. And Tutu as well, you know. Tutu as well. Ukugqaya agiri is to ukujukutshela ukugqaya. Ukuqwitya ukuphosa. Ukuqwitya ukuphosa. So that is the first part. That is the first part of the battle of Udlomo together with Ndungwana. They were fighting with, with Uhlanga. Now remember, these people come from Nxeko, all of them. and Hlanga was defeated. And these people of Hlanga, also known as Amaqiya, therefore they were no longer what? They were no longer kings. From Hlanga, then you get Omdlovu, Omaleki, from Maleki, and Taba, who were brothers, and Ngono. You get these descendants. I'm not going to go all the way down. But yeah, you go all the way down. Now, these were not weak people. They were just not strong enough for amaMfene, for the mighty amaMfene. Yeah. Oof, my goodness. Oh, better jambasa matoda, better msutu, better kanzi, better ngagala, better sandlala nca. Kudwa phala ngoba le ndlela iyehlela. Oh, mabona wathi bulwane njengomthakathi madoda. Oh, see. Ha. Now, someone last week mentioned that I touched a bit on another group known as amaMaya. Within AbaThembu, there's amaNdlana. I touched a bit on amaMaya. And I did say that I would touch on amaQiti as well. So, it's not part of this document, but I've got another document that I acquired. It is said that in the late 1500s, there was a group of descendants from the time of Untande, which was the early 1500s. From Untande, you get amaMaya. From the time of Untande, you get amaMaya. Yes, Umdlane, Ututuse is the same thing as amaNdlana. Yes, it's on part 1. amaNdlana, I touched on them on part 1, but I will touch again because, hey, guys, we have to look at these things very carefully. I know it's not very visible, but this is Maya. From Maya, you get Magwa. From Magwa, you get Usobini no Stokwe. From Usobini, you get Unweniso. From Unweniso, you get Unwiliso. Honestly, I think it's the same name. From Unwiliso, you get Chikama. From Chikama, you get Umlav. From Umlav, you get Unduzo. Umuzo, it's not very visible. Apologies. But this is Maya. amaMaya, you find them amongst AbaThembu today. They have 2 major lines. The Magwa line and the Gawe line. Now, I'm going to look at the Gawe line. The Gawe line comes from uGawe. No, amaMaya go Chikama, not Chizama. Chikama. amaMaya come from uGawe. Mukoni, you can ask that friend of yours who's a Maya. Which Maya is he? Is he a Magwa or a Gawe? Now, uGawe is a descendant of Umaya directly. From uGawe, you get Unyisa. From Unyisa, you get Unompempane or Unompompane. From Unompompane, you get Unjonjela. From Unjonjela, you get Umona. From Umoya, you get Umangila. Now, here's the problem. This line of Gawe is looked down on. I think maybe there was a problem back in the day between these 2 groups, Umagwa and uGawe, because they say Gawe are not legitimate Maya people. They are descendants of a daughter called Gawe. I generally do not believe it, that there's a daughter called Gawe. I don't believe it. What I do think is that maybe they fought in ancient times and these guys won the war or whatever, and then they label these ones as the child of the daughter, which they can strip them away of inheritance. There's something similar that I saw within my clan. Now, within my clan, there's a specific group that call on Chief Chachu. Chachu is also one of the Thembu chiefs. He's not the same as Dungwana, which is the one we are allies of. But there's a group that call on Chachu when they recite their clan names. Bati Chachu Olitaf. And then when I asked about these people, I was told that they are not real amaMfene. I was told that no, they are not legitimate amaMfene. They came with a daughter. And I'm like, I've heard this before. Those people are real amaMfene. It's just that you guys don't approve of their behavior. So I think Uqawe or Uqawe is not necessarily a female. It's just there was a problem between these two groups. Oqawe ke, you'll hear mostly about them. Ecofa imvaba kanje. Bakhona omaya bangoqawe pha. So this is the thing about omaya ke. And then from omaya you get another group known as these ones amaqithi. Amaqithi are said to be iqadi. Qadi is a word that means extra wife, by the way. It means extra support, yabo, iqadi. In fact, when we are building indlu yesintu, we have a pole known as umqadi. Umqadi is used to support all the other poles. So from amaqithi you get two lines, undinga. I can't see properly this other one, but from undinga you get umnono and ukhadu. Ngamaqithi ke ango, iqadi likantande. Amamaya ukunene kukantande. Umnguti likomkhulu kantande. Uyabona? Let's see if I can see a clearer image maybe of amaqithi. Maybe this one is a bit clearer. Let's see. So amaqithi now, you get two lines that we still remember. You get undinga, umnono, ukhadu. This is one line. And then the other line is from unonjiba. Nonjiba, who gave rise to Nonos. Unonos and umnono is the same name, by the way. The names mean the same thing. It means a gentleman. Inono, you know. It's It's Tsitsibala. That's a gentleman. Unonjiba gave rise to Unonose. Unonose gave rise to Umdlopiabu. Umdlopiabu gave birth to Udondi. Udondi gave birth to Ulane. These are just descendants of the Mqithi household within AbaThembu. Now the Mqithi are the Qadi. Now Qadi is a supporting house. So if the senior house has Iqadi, the senior house is Umguti. If the Mguti's wife fails to bear a son, this house known as Amaqidi will bear a son for that house, and that son will belong to the Mguti house. So each house, right-hand house, main house, left-hand house, all of these houses have their own Amaqadi. And then another one known as Amaqube. Now, remember, I'm just reading. I don't necessarily believe all of this because I genuinely believe some of these people were added here. I believe some of these people were old clans that were added. However, for now, this is how we're going to do it. Amaqube were also Iqadi. I'm not sure if it's Iqadi of the main house or of the right-hand house, but from Amaqube, you get Umqube, Umbetje, Utyalana, Nomsinyana. So we touched on three clans now. The Qube people, Amaqube, the Qiti people, Amaqiti, and the Maya people, which I broke into two, the Magwa line and the Gawe line. Personally, I believe Amaqube were an independent group originally. I don't believe that they were born into the house of Undande. There's no way all these clans come from Ndande. I believe Amaqube were an independent group. In fact, if we trace down the history of Amaqoma, who are also found amongst AbaThembu, let's have a look at Amaqoma quickly. Let's have a look at Amaqoma. Just give me a minute. We'll have a look at Amaqoma because Amaqoma, at least one, they know their story. So Amaqoma are people with the same Umqoma, ne? With the last name, with the clan name Umqoma. You find a lot of them amongst AbaThembu. They say they are Qomani. They say they are Qomani people. So Abatwa, who are Qomani. If you actually look at their clan names, they say Mtwa, Nkumande, onkumande. Bathi mqoma, nyohela, siqo, chananatu, chabi, nabantwana nikwenze, ntengabuthi, yathengwa ngethokazi elimdaka, onkumande. So these are abathwa. Other ways that they say their clan names, they will say mqoma, mvanda, siqu, chabi, chananatu, mahlozi, phapashe. They will say nkumane, nyohela, mafula ngayo ngenxa yoswela ingobosi, naba ndikwenze gqomgqayo qele gqubeni, and so on and so on. I'm not gonna go further, but this is the Qomani, amaqomo onkumane, your Qomani peoples. Some people claim that the name Komani came from amaqoma. I don't mind it, but I also know Komani has been used a lot as first names. In fact, in my bloodline, we also have Ukomani. One of my ancestors is also called Ukomani. Now, amaqoma claim that in the times of this chief, Chananatu, in the time of Chananatu, they became under AbaThembu. It was the days of, who's the Thembu chief Konje who was in charge in the time of Chananatu? It was the days of Utoyi. Yes, remember last week we touched on Utoyi. I showed you in the Kunkia dictionary what Toyi means. I told you it means umhlekazi. It means a good lord, a good chief, good. Umlungisa, ulungisa. That's what Toyi means. But in the time of this chief Utoyi, the Koma people were under this one, Uchananatu. It was him who went and joined AbaThembu. But it was not just the Koma. He says there was a group known as the Tsube people and the Ndlane people, Amandlane namatsube. Amandlane namatsube were actually living in the caves in those days. All the way in Engobo, in caves around Ekuluku, around Kukata, around Utubeni, those places, all the way to places like Kubenga, etc., etc. It's full of caves there in those places. So Amakoma say that the Amatube and Amandlane were out of the Koma group. So according to Amakoma, Amatube and Amandlane, not Amakoma, but they were like together when they joined AbaThembu in the days of Untoyi or Utoyi. So that's what Amakoma are saying. That gives us an alternative view of history. Now, history cannot be taken only from one person's perspective, the ruling people's perspective. We also have to listen to history from other people's perspective. So according to Amakoma, then Amatube and Amandlane also come from the similar bloodline. They used to live in the caves there in Eastern Cape. One gentleman that I was talking to, he said, in fact, if you look at the name Tsube, the name Tsube means those who live far from the river. There's Us, or Nus. It means those who are near. Amanxusa, abo banxusayo. Amanxusa, those who are near the river. And then there's Qub or Qus, which is Tsube, those who are far from the river. So ngamaxube ke ango. Today though, when you listen to these people, some of them, they don't know their history, man. Like they cannot tell you who they are. You ask amaxube, guys, who are you? They don't know, yabo. It happens with what is this thing? With history. Now, Amangongo are also part of the AbaThembu Confederacy. Amangongo are also part of the AbaThembu Confederacy. They are the dark people. That's what their names mean. Ngongo and Tsundu are the same people. Let's do this. Just so that we can go quickly through their history. You have Ngongo, you have Tsundu. You see? But you're not going to find much. They're just going to tell you the names of chiefs. But what we get from their clan name, we get the name Tsundu. This is amaNgongo. Now, it means dark. So if you look here, you have Ngongo. I will explain what Ngongo is. You have Nsundu. I will explain that. You have Sopicho. Now, Sopicho, Ngolomsila, Velabembenzele, Yemiem, Zondwa. All of these things don't tell you anything about amaNgongo. These are just praises. These are just praises to the Thembu kings. But if you look at Ngongo, it gives you an idea. Ngongo and Nsundu. Ngongo is an enclosure. It's an enclosure, indawo evalekileyo. A house, so to say, a shelter, a settlement. That is Ngongo. And Nsundu, it's obviously dark. Now, we're going to have a look. We're just going to have a look at something quickly. We're going to have a look at something quickly. I want to show you something. Like we did last week. Last week, we tried to search for the names of our kings. The names of our kings, we find them in so-called Bushman languages. And we wonder how. How are we finding the names of ancient kings? These were powerful kings, but all their names are queer names. That can only be one reason. They used their languages when they named themselves. I want to show you something quickly. Now, if you look here, for a house, this is Kunkia now. There's a name Dzu for a house, Dzu, which is Indlu basically. Dzu. Tsu, Chu, all these different words, né? But here, if you go further, here it's Ng, like an enclosure, something that is closed. You understand? Something that is closed. It's Ng. When you pronounce it as Ng. So there's a clan. Oh, they even write it this way: Ngdu. Here it's Ng. There's a clan now of people who are known as the house people or the hut people. They are called Ngqwa. This is in essence the same as your Ngongo. In terms of abaThwa pronunciation, is Ng. Like amaQoma in isiThembu, they are Qomani in Qawni. But Qomani in Qawni are Ngu or Ng in Kunkia. So what this means is that amaNgongo, namansundu, namaqoma come from the same source originally. AmaNgongo, Ngu amansundu, Ngu gamansundu. Let me show you quickly. They will say give me a minute. There's a language that I want to introduce you to called the Ngu language. It's also called the Ng language. You see?
No one else in the world can speak this language. Katrina Irso is the only known person fluent in Ngu. It's one of a group of indigenous South African languages all but stamped out by decades of colonialism and apartheid. But at 90 years old, Irso doesn't relish being its sole protector. Spoken by one family.
I don't want to hear European's voice, man. I'm sorry, but I don't want to hear the voice of a European. Let's see if we can find anything here. Ish. You know, there used to be an online dictionary. I wanted to show you some words that you guys use in isiXhosa. I wanted to show you, like, you know, in isiXhosa, when they ask you, how are you? When you say, "Ndingumqabaqaba," it's literally used in Ngqung, or in the Ngqu language, in the language of Ngqu. Now I don't know where. Okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe there's something here. This is a government thing, but you can't even navigate the whole thing. Anyway, it's all right, guys. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you. I wanted to show you, but I can't. There's nothing. I wanted to show you, like, certain words, so for you to hear for yourself when the words are being pronounced. You are literally going to know exactly what word this is. Yabo. For example, the word for grass, inga. The word for the heart, etc., etc. Let's see. Maybe I think I saw something there. Let's see. So if you read here, they say Ngqung, which is Ngongo. Ngqung is basically people. You see, back in the day, they used to call the Thembu people Tambuki, or Tambuke. It's Tambuke. It's how the Thembu were called in Kunkia. That A was used. That A is never used for anyone who's not considered Kwe. I just want you to know that. A is not used for anyone who's not considered Kwe. A, if you are called with a A or with a Na, you are considered the people as well. Yabo. So Tambu A or Tambu A. Amabomvana were called Mambu A. The Mambuki people in English. Bastards or mixed race people were called Amakheya, the bastards. Now, these are some of the pronunciations, but I wanted to see if there's any proper words that we could find. But I don't see any. Sikhala ke Ngqu, we speak Ngqu. Sicela isingqu. Now, Ngqu is the language. Khala is to talk. Do you guys realize that we use this word to this day, which means to talk? Ukuxela. So I wanted to just show you the relevance of some of these older names of amaNgongo, amaNtsundu, which is Ngqung and Ngqung. amaNcotshe, which is Ngute or Ngute. Almost all the clans you have in KZN and Eastern Cape, you also have them in other indigenous communities. The idea that these clans are standalone is complete nonsense. It's complete nonsense. Like amaXulu, we've been saying it all the time. amaXulu, you also find them amongst your Kora. Amongst the Kora, they are called Uluna. That Na is simply a plural for people. Yabo. AmaNgosin, we've been saying it. So all these clans you find in your modern day cultures are there in other indigenous communities as well. Uthukwa, these are amaChathu, Uthukwa, oManusi, oXhoba, oChathu, oBawana, oMaphasa. Ukuxela ukuthetha loo nto zakuthi amampondo ayatsho nje athi Into ndiyixelayo ukuxela ukuthetha kufana nokutyela yabona. Which other group did I not talk about? I've spoken about amaJumba. I went deep on amaJumba and Ugudlwa last week. Ungubencuka, guys, you can go online and find your history about Ungubencuka. I don't have to talk about it. Nomtirara, you guys, Nongangelizwe, no Dalindyebo. Dalindyebo is the same name today. It's the same name of the Thembu king. Or Sampu. Sampu means the one with the big belly. The one with the big belly. Umondli Gungubele. I think Lichachu. Umondli Gungubele. I think he is a Chachu actually. For sure. Now, Osqungathu Ngangelizwe. I'm trying to see if there's anything that I missed that's important. All these other people, guys, like Omatanzima. Guys, you guys can go and find these things for yourself. No, I can't repeat. You go on YouTube and watch. I can't repeat. Why would I repeat it now? I can't do that. I've already spoken about it. Now, this is AbaThembu. I've touched on a lot of these people. What I want to do is show you now something interesting. Just give me a second. I want to show you something interesting. These are Cham people, ne? These are Cham people. And by our submissions of indigenous heritage, we understand Cham people and Thembu people to be of the same extraction. We understand Cham people and Thembu people to be of the same extraction. Now, not just Cham, but also other Kakangu settlers, other Kakangu people. Now, Kakangu refers to a place. Now, I'll show you something quickly. No, the names were powerful. Gangelizwe, the names were powerful there. Let's check. I hope this thing is going to be visible. This is one of the maps from back in the day. If you check here, you can see this is Eastern Cape, by the way, because you can see this is Natal. This is Eastern Cape. All of this. So if you check here, Damakwa Nati, which means the Damakwa Nation. The Damakwa Nation. Who are they today? They are a part of Amaqunukwebe. But if you check here, Sonkwa or Sonkwa Nati, this is Amasukwini when they were still independent. This is Amaqunukwebe, this is Amasukwini. Now here you have Dunkwas. In Kwe Mana orthography, Dunkwas is an equivalent of Ndungwana. It's next to Cham. As I said, the names we use for clans, Ngongo, Nsundu, Dungwana, you have equivalent clans. You have equivalent clans in other parts of the country. Tina amaMfene, fortunately, we accepted this long ago. We know you have amaMfene in KZN, you have amaMfene in Northern Cape, you have amaMfene in Northwest, you have amaMfene in Lesotho, you have amaMfene in Eastern Cape. We are the one group that is not confused. We know exactly that amaMfene are everywhere. They may be confused in those places, but we know they are everywhere. But other clans, they have this belief which is rooted in apartheid Bantu stance. apartheid Bantu stance that you only come from one place. Yes, your house may be coming from that place, but there are other related people in other places. Why do you think there's AbaThembu in Botswana? Why? So this Dunkwas here in Kwemana orthography is Dungwana in Thembu orthography. amaMfene, we are one. We are not confused. We know that we are one. Regardless of where amaMfene are, we will always be one. We don't discriminate each other. Is there anything else here that is important? Let's see. Okay. I want to continue now. This is Heikom. This is Heikom people. This is your Heikom people are basically people who stay in the bush. That's what Heikom means. Hey is the bush. Kom is to sleep. So Heikom, these are the bush sleepers. And then Fumos Terade, Otenikwa, it's a group of people, Utinikwa, the honey foragers, the people who forage for honey, Utinikwa. And then Koring Reik Biri, this is Botswana. Koring Reik Biri, Biri is a goat, by the way. So in Kwemana, Botswana are known as Birina or Birikwa. Interestingly, BaFokeng are known as Sabirina. Sabirina, which means Bushman Botswana. I'm using the word Bushman purely because you guys are going to understand what I mean. Sa, remember, you have that koi san nonsense. That sa there is actually used for Botswana and other groups who come from Tswana Tsatsi. They are known as Batsatsing or Sabirina. Sabirina. That is to say, the so-called Bushmen who are Botswana. And then you have Koring Reik in Namba. This is the kingdom of the Tonga peoples. Oh, not Kala, no, not Kala, not BaFokeng. Oh, not Kala, not Kala is just a way to refer to the hair. Let me show you something. When you say no kala, you are referring to this kind of hair. You see this hair? This is not kala again. So if your ancestors had hair like this, had this appearance, your surname is gonna be no kala. I explained it last week. You told me your clan name is Ngahwane. Ngahwane are not BaFokeng. Ngahwane, they are an independent group of Amagunu. They are an independent group, Amagunu. But the surname no kala. Yes, that's what it means. So that this is no kala, no kala lo. Even this kind of hair. Remember, the hair is amagaga. In fact, my hair is like this. My natural hair. When I don't comb it, it will come out like this as well. So that is that's gaga. So that person is called no kala. Also Nondala as well. I'm gonna allow one person to join, and then I'm gonna continue. I'm done with AbaThembu for today. I don't wanna continue any further with AbaThembu. So if someone wants to join, feel free to join. Share a point. Ask a question. I will answer if I can. If I can't, I'm not going to answer. But today, I'm going to stop here with AbaThembu. I don't want to go any further. I spent the last 1 hour, 15 minutes, or let's say 1 hour talking about AbaThembu, and I want a break now. So, I don't know if you guys... All right. So you guys can go and check You can go and check my YouTube channel. Let me just share my YouTube channel. I've been sharing it, eh? I don't know why people seem to be unable to see it. This is my YouTube channel, guys. This is my YouTube channel. So this is my name on YouTube. So you just have to go here, subscribe. There's about 201 videos. 201 videos. And then you come here to my videos. You are going to see videos here that pertain to topics that we discussed. So there's this one, Thembu Nation and Kangwe history. There's this one, amaMvulane, amaVundle, maPhungube, Portuguese and the Tsonga. There's this one on amaHlubi. It's just one part. So you can just enjoy those videos. amaMfene originally spoke Kho. They spoke Khonyati. They spoke Khonyati. Khotan. So if you go to Botswana, you'll find people known as Masarwa. Those people are actually Kho. Kho are groups of people such as Tauni, which is what we call Bakoni. Groups such as Khatsi, which is Otanzi, amaMfene. Groups such as Ngamani, which is amaNgamani. Groups such as Ngcuqi, amaNcoche. Groups such as Khakia, the Valpens Bushmen, the Black Bushmen, as some Europeans, white supremacists would say. All these people are Kho and many others that I did not mention. So that would be the language of amaMfene mixed with the language of amaZizi as well, because amaMfene lived side by side with amaZizi in Lesotho. So the Zizi influence can be seen in the language. For example, amaMfene have a word ucece for an elderly woman. I think ukoko or something like that. They call it ucece. Cece is a Kunkia word for a woman. It's a Kunkia word for a woman. So we use that as amaMfene ucece. amaMfene we will use, for example, the river in Lesotho, Sinqu. Nqu is a word we use for black. So Sinqu is Black River. A crocodile or a scorpion, we call it Pim. Pim is a word we use for scorpion. We don't say Unoma Dudwane, we say Pim. Now, if you go to Kunkia, you'll find Pim. They use it for crocodile, interestingly, which you also find amongst amaVundle as Amsholo. That's why you must watch these videos. I explain those things here. A lot of stuff I've already explained, but you must find and watch. Go to YouTube channel and watch. Those are some of the words. Pim. Iqhakuba is unonkala. Iqhakuba unonkala. We say iqhakuba. So we will say sipeka iqhakuba nepim ngeqawana. Iqawana is inqawu, unqawana, nqawu. Some say unqawu liqawu. So bazothi gipheka liphemphem leqhawana gipheka iphemphem leqhakuba ngeqawana. There's many other names, like a rich person is called Qenga. You find it amongst amaMpondomise for Qengeba. That's what we call a rich person, or a lord, even Qenga. There's an old name for a creator being Qang. In fact, there's an old prayer I have praying for cows or for food before a hunt. I think an elder was crying out to Qang. Similar to how we used to do when we see the praying mantis. Or when you are passing his vivane, you would leave a request there when you are placing the stone in the grave of Haiseb or Haibeb Uebebe, because it's vivane is the grave of Uebebe. It's the grave of an ancient king. Simamkele Mqenge uthi ungaphela udomo le information. Hayi, there's no such a thing here. Awukho domos ile uyifundiswe esikolweni ingekhoyo uzoba dom njani ile right information. You see, you have a surname Mqenge. Mqenge, it means a lord. It's actually another name for Thixo, if you think about it. It's another name for Thixo if you think about it, because Qenge, it's basically like Qang for the creator being, which you also use to refer to a king. So your surname Mqenge, it's a, what people would call a sun language. That's your surname. You should be proud. You are not from Congo. There's no one called Mqenge in Congo. And if you were from Congo, it would not be wrong either, but you are not. So that's it. Now, I'm gonna take you guys through some of my notes that I took. Oh, someone was asking some questions. Maybe answer some of the questions that were asked before I continue. Why is it taking so long to recognize these languages? Oh man, I'm asking myself the same thing because I'm not in government. I know your question is an important one. There's many languages that are not recognized in South Africa. Some of them have been written down long ago, like Isiputi. It's not recognized. Ispaca is not recognized. Islubi is not recognized. Kilobedu is not recognized. Nama Goab is not recognized, which is the dumbest thing because Nama is spoken most in Namibia properly. It's already an established language, so it would be actually easier to recognize it. And then you have the older dialects, your Kamki, your Nguki, your Tawo, your Namasa, your Kusiki, which is called Kunkia. None of them are actually recognized at all. You see, there's like about 40 languages in this country that are not recognized. If you ask me why, honestly, man, I think the government is just stupid. I don't want anything to do with the government. If there's a government person here in the live, go to hell. I don't want you guys to send me a message ever again. You guys are not honest, you are dishonest, and you are corrupt. I'm saying this to the government of South Africa. You are good house Negroes. You do nothing to develop this country, nothing to develop the indigenous people. You serve outer influences. You serve foreign interests. That is my message to the government, and I don't want to hear about them again. It's going to make me lose my mind. Unfortunately, I hate anything that has to do with the government because they will pull down anyone who tries to do good in this bloody country. Screw the government. This land doesn't belong to you. It belongs to our ancestors. The government is a good ice boy of white billionaire interests and foreign interests. That's why our languages are not recognized. But Afrikaans is on the bloody other side of your Umalusi exam in matric. That's why. Another question that I saw, how do I get access to old information as old as the 1500s? Well, I mean, over time, you learn where to go to find this kind of information. People who really want this information joined my program long ago. I've got a couple of people who are part of my program here. Poka Mufukeng, Morena Limakara is one of the people in my program. Mukoni Tikasas is one of the people in my program. I'm not sure if Mtungwa Ukona, there's another gentleman, Mtungwa, is one of the people in my program as well. So we've got a program that's running. Sunday Tugan University is running under the banner of Project Ngasi. Got about 20-something people who pay monthly to be part of the program. They get this information fresh, and they also get way more. They get way more information, so they know how to get this kind of stuff. We've got repositories from back in the day. But this information is not only based on research, This information is also spiritual. Some of these things you will never hear from anyone except from me and only me. Because this is my duty to do this, you understand? It's my duty to do this and nobody else's. So I'm just saying, like, you can have the books, but they're not gonna make sense until I tell you this is what it is, because I am sent to do this. This is my job to do. Other people's jobs are in other areas. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, I'm running a project in Nasi, paying 300 monthly, 250 to 300 monthly. I also run for those who love Visit Xhosa, but are not good at it. I run Xhosa classes under a program called KwaXhosa Benza Zibutye. It's 250 a month. Some people pay once off. We also run Qora, Kobab Ada, for those who want in-depth Qora knowledge, not just the language now, but history that is specific to Qora people. So yeah, these are stuff I run. People pay for these things. I'm not expecting everyone to be willing to pay for these kind of things, but those who want to will join, absolutely. Yeah, but some people just want the books, so I sell the books on the side. They range from 200 to 500 rand for the biggest ones. I've got like books that have got like 600 pages, only about indigenous history before white men. As I said, it's always good to just have these tools on your person to be able to use them when necessary. So some people generally just come and buy the books, and then I'll sell them the books, whether it's a book on Xhosa history or Sotho history or Tswana history, or a book that combines this kind of stuff, like talking about Kwe Sotho heritage. Like I mentioned earlier, that BaFokeng, they are Bushman Tswanas, basically. Whereas BaTlhaping are Bushman Tswana, Qora, and mix. Because BaTlhaping are they are Bushmen of the Ubiqua. Remember, I showed you guys here. I showed you this group, Dunkwas, ne? I showed you a group known as Dunkwas, Aman Dungwana. But there's another group here, Ubiqua. Or Ubiqua. This is BaTlhaping. Ubiqua are BaTlhaping. It's actually Ubi. Ubiqua. Uba. In Uba. Uba is a fish. It's a fish, Uba. That's why the Nguba River is called Fish River. So Ubiqua is a Kwemana way of saying the fish people, but originally BaTlhaping were not fish people. They were actually Swakaqui. Swakaqui. They were Qora. Swakaqui. And they were called by the Kwemana speakers, your Qora. They were Tram, sorry, but they were called by the Qora fish people, BaTlhaping. I know people get confused. Oh no, BaTlhaping were Barolong. No. They were subjects to Barolong. They were not born by Barolong. And when the Barolong were disintegrated in 1750, the BaTlhaping actually sought their independence. In fact, they declared a war against Barolong together with the Qorana, the Taibosh Qora. They fought against Barolong to be free from them. Now, the sad reality is that BaTlhaping were unfortunately also sold into slavery. That is the sad reality. They were slaves and they were sold into slavery in the cave. BaTlhokwa, I do have a history on BaTlhokwa. And yes, it does touch on their Qora heritage, because Tlokwa were also subjects. Tina, we understand them as Qora Txhoukwa, meaning the people of the wild cat. Txhoukwa, the wild cat people. That's what the name Txhoukwa means in Qora Kobab. The book, as I said, the books range from 200 to 500. I have a link to my books. For anyone who wants the book, you just inbox me and I will send you the link. What I will do, I want to show you BaTlhokwa, who were actually enslaved. Not BaTlhokwa, sorry, BaTlhaping, who were actually enslaved. It's very important that we talk and we provide evidence with this kind of stuff, I just want to get their pictures quickly, and then you guys are gonna see. By the way, these people in the picture here, they have the dreadlocks known as Iziendane, Umieko. These are Kwe women who have Umieko. So when amaHlubi have Umieko, guys, it has nothing to do with East Africa. I've seen people showing pictures of amaHlubi with Iziendane on their heads. Oh no, that means they come from East Africa. Haibo. How? It's a Southern African thing, Mozimieko. Even when people were doing it, you can see here their dreadlocks are falling on the sides. Same thing with cutting your face, ukugcaba. It has nothing to do with art anyway. It's an indigenous Southern African practice. And I've got evidence. I'm not talking about things I heard from someone. I've got evidence of all these things that you guys do, going to the mountain, the things that we do. Going to the mountain, saying, Ria komeng. Komeng. Kom. It's a Kunkia word, which means to circumcise. Kom. Initiation. Bati komeng, Ria komeng. Ngomen, sorry. It's Kunkia. It means to initiation school for men. And the ladies are like, oh, we are going to Kude. You know, Kude is a Kunkia word. It means menstruation. Because you go to Ekuden after you reach your time. These are BaTlhaping, by the way. This is a white man. These are BaTlhaping slaves who are being sold. These are your Tram, who then mixed with Barolong and Korana and got the name Ubikwa, which is BaTlhaping. Same thing with your Batlokwa. They got the name They were Thaukwa and got the name Batlokwa. Same thing. These are BaTlhaping. These were people who were enslaved in the Cape Colony, unfortunately. They were enslaved in the Cape Colony, unfortunately. Bakwena descend from the Bakoni, actually, in origin. As I said, there's evidence for that as well. In fact, Bakwena originally spoke in a click language, a proper click language. Fortunately, the Basotho have maintained that click language. That's very good. But yeah, they originally spoke in a click language. Unfortunately, died out. These are BaTlhaping children who were being sold to the Cape. So that means the Abattoir nations also practice the culture of initiation. The culture of initiation is the culture of Abattoir. It is the culture of Abattoir. When you talk about initiation, you are talking about Abattoir. For example, it's practiced by Abattoir for girls. When we're talking about ingoma or engomeni, when you talk about door, which means a man, indod, it's dorob. They practice it boys. So I'm telling boys. So we have to be very clear. Hey, these people, I don't know, man. They are literally restricting my life. I don't know, like they keep on sending me warnings that my life has been restricted, and I don't know what I did. I didn't do anything, literally. Like, what the hell? Why are they restricting my life? Someone was asking now about the Bantu migration. Whether and what I think about colors were claiming. If you are still here, the person who asked that question, if you are still here, oh yeah, the First Nations are here. They are reporting my life. Yes, you bloody First Nation. The pretendians are restricting my life. Yeah, don't restrict my life, man. You see, this is a Koramen. Tell me you don't know anyone who looks like this. Tell me you do not know anyone who looks like this, whether in your family or where you stay. It's a Kora quib. The documentaries about the documentaries are made by Abelungu, guys. Why would Abelungu care about initiation? I can show you evidence of about doing initiation. They would never sit most if they didn't do initiation. They could never be ingos if they didn't do initiation. They did initiation. Amakonukwa did initiation. They still do it to this day. They did inqiti well lisiko labathwa vele. Ukugcaba ukuchaza ebusweni lisiko labathwa. I will show you, don't worry. I'll show you just now. Give me a second. I'm just fixing something here on my side. I'll show you. In fact, there's an old song, old initiation song amongst the Basotho. It actually literally credits Murwa for overseeing the circumcision process. Uyinza was circumcised by umtwa. Ingcibi kaYinza yayingumtwa wasemanqosini. Ingcibi kaYinza straight. I don't think ingcibi ingabe kanti yona yolukanga. I don't think so. I understand that there's no way. Yeah, the word ngomeni, sorry. It's a queer word. I'm gonna show you just now. Give me a sec. Let's go to our dictionaries quickly. We shall see something here. You know some of the things esizenzayo. Sometimes we don't know their origin. Siyazenza nje. There's a game known as Iceya or Umceya. You know, that's a game that's a queer game in a way. But anyway, I wanna show you this. This is a tradition known as Dorop. Dorop is amongst the Kora people. It's known as initiation school for young men. It's called Dorop. It's initiation school for young men. Right? Let's go to Kunkia. This is Kora, ne? If we go to Kunkia, just give it a minute. We'll find initiation as well. I hope I answered all the questions, guys. Those who are looking for books, I've got books on almost any group in South Africa. For you, if you, let's say, you want to read a bit more, you know, I do it. I don't mind. I can share with you the books. But for those who want something a bit more long-term, you know, generally I advise that they must, join my classes. They must join my classes. Indeed, Lunga, indeed. Kunjalo, but that is correct. Give me a sec, guys. I'm trying to find something here. Don't think I've forgotten. I want to show you something. Aha! I got what I was looking for. You see? This is in 1770, ne? This is in 1770. I don't know if you guys can see properly, but I'm going to try and put more light on the screen. I want to show you something. My light is dead. But anyway, we'll go through the picture together. You see this gentleman here? If you look there, there's a bunch of men who are seated in a semicircle or in a circle. These are all men. They are seated here. And then there's another man here who's slaughtering. This form of slaughtering is known as dom. This form of slaughtering is known as dom. It's called the slaughter through the cutting of what? Through the cutting of the throat. Khau is to cut. Dom. Khau and khau is to cut. And dom is the throat. So this gentleman is slaughtering on the throat. If you go this side, they are cooking through an earthen vessel, an earthen pot. Here, there's a fire. If you look here, I'm not sure what's happening, but There's something that's happening here because he's holding his front area. So maybe they are doing some important healing stuff. But here, if you guys can see properly, you can see the elders here. There's an elderly man here, and there's another man, and then there's a man with 2 legs open. This is in 1770. No, I don't think I'm Kamela, man. I think the drawing is a bit off, but I think maybe he's doing something. I don't want to get into details. That's why I think I did. I think, but they're doing something. But it's only men here, so they're probably fixing something. But maybe I'm Kamela, and us. It looks like I'm Kamela, God. I'm not sure. Hey, my dudes. But can you guys see? That's all I want. I don't want to talk details here. Can you guys see? Again, someone was asking me if these people do this thing. Can you see it now? Can you see things that are familiar here or what? Just confirm and then I'm out of this picture. I can't talk openly about what is what. Yeah, I think I've said enough. Hey, I have said enough. It's too much, this thing. This topic. You guys, you know this topic is just very sensitive. Yeah, as long as you guys can see, I just wanted to show you guys that AbaThembu do this thing. They do. That's all I wanted to show. More than anything else, it's not the details are not important. Those who need the details know the details. Those who need to know, they know them. Now, what I want to do, I want to show you something. Something else. Hey. And I'll show you something else. So this is what they do. No? They have something known as or Gri, which is a cut between the eyebrows at boys' initiation ceremony. Once again, proving that they do what? They do idoni initiation. But this Gri now, if I'm telling you, in isiXhosa it's called ubugqi. So babanika ubugqi endaweni. Babanika ubugqi. That's it. Now there's the word I wanna show you for girls. Something interesting. Let's see how can I find this word? Because there's a word they use in Wandebele that I came across. The word is kude. Kude. When I came across this word in Kungia, it's kode in Kungia. It's kode. Now I'm just struggling to find it, but I know it's female menstruation. Now, why is it important? Because it shows you exactly the root of ikude, which is intonjane, basically. Now, these traditions, guys, are very deep. I don't like talking in detail about them because they overlap with other things that only the people who've done them are supposed to know. Yabo. But ikude is intonjane. In essence, what happens... No, the ones in the Kalahari, I don't think they do it. I don't think they do circumcision at all. I don't think all the nations did it, even back in the day, yabo. I don't think all of them did it. Some did it, especially the ones that Tina, the ones who are our ancestors. Let me put it like that, yabo. Like Yobarwa. Some did it, some didn't. Some stopped. Some stopped. When I looked at some of the traditions, it became hard to do because you needed to have access to the wild to be able to do those traditions. Mqithi sesithethile ngamaqithi ke. Sesithethile ngamaqithi and You will find the video on YouTube. Please check it on YouTube. I know you asked about amaqidi. We already spoke about them. So please find it there. Ode. Ish, I can't find it now, guys. I'm sorry. Hopefully, I can find it easily. I don't want to waste too much time looking for one word. But anyway, all right. I at least gave bukon. But anyway, what you call intonjane, it's from the word itombo. Itombo is blood. You see, itombo is blood. It's also known as itobo. In fact, in Kora, the name for blood is tobo. The name for blood is tobo. And this is where the name tombo then comes in. Now, the word tobo, yes, injalo. Now, do you get its relation to the word itombo? The word itombo gives us intombi, because intombi ngokuba ithini kuvele ithombo kaphakathi kuyo, okuthi ukuthi iba ngumthombo yona. A girl becomes a girl or a woman when they reach that time of releasing blood in their bodies. Then they become a woman. That's what we believe. And in that sense, then they are taken to what? They are taken to initiation for women. For women. So itobo netobelo, itombo nentombi ziyahambelana. This is also why you have ancestors like untombela. Untombela, the name means into ebomvu, igazi. It means something red like blood. That's what the name means. Yabo. Because intombela, it comes from the word utombo. Yabon. Red like blood. Kuthiwa intombela ke kanjalo. And then let's check in Kora the name for blood. Let's see what in Kora they call blood. Can you guys see what I'm talking about? This is Kora. It's Tob. Tob. Itobo. Tob. Itobo. Itobelo. It's also found in Kora. And many other words like incense. You find the word incense here. I've made a video about it in the past and I've shown the screenshot. It's just that I'm just struggling to search for these words because I saw them long ago. I'm really struggling to search for them. But that's how it is. So I'm trying to prove the point that the traditions we do, intonjane, imbeleko, it doesn't mean every single community amongst the Kwinkia speakers is going to observe these traditions. That is a colonial way to look at it. What this means is that some communities are going to observe these traditions. Not all of them. Some are going to observe, because even amongst us, we don't all observe these traditions. Not everyone does the same thing. But those who are amongst us absolutely did these things. There's a book I have. It's called History of Basotho, Modern and Ancient. There, Basotho are singing an old song. Yes. They're singing an old song of about Kweta. Or iti lengoma. The song says, Murwa kabutlali bahaye. I don't remember the words, but I know it says Murwa has now revealed that thing which was hidden. They are singing this in the mountain. That Murwa umtwa ngobuhlali bakhe uyityhilile into ibisithakele. Now, if you understand imifuziselo nemizekeliso, you will understand exactly what this means. There's no way that a song about Murwa can be sung in the mountain if Murwa is not part of that. My people, I'm gonna pause here. I need to take a break. I might be back. I might not be back because I also have life to live. But if I'm not back today, I'm gonna be back tomorrow. I know there's questions I've not answered. I will encourage, ne? Murwa is umtwa. That's what murwa means. Murwa is mutwa. That's what murwa is. If I'm not back, I'm not back. But if I'm back, I encourage those who have questions to join the panel. Ne? And my next live may be a bit more political. So don't just expect me to always talk about Kunkia. Let me quickly explain what Kunkia is. I see someone is asking there. This is what Kunkia is, ne? I'm just going to write it for you guys quickly. I've explained it sometimes. I'm going to do it again. So here, this is Kui. It's Kui. It means people. About is equal. Here is Kia or Kia. Some may pronounce it as Kia. So now the language of the people, you say Queen Kia. It's Queen Kia. It's Kia. Kui is a person. Kia or Kia is to talk, like Chela, 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 Tseya. Amampondo misatu kutseya. Tseya. So it's Kunkia. It means the people's language. Maybe on my next live, that's what I'm going to explain. Hupiela, yes, Hupiela. I'm actually going to explain how. Let me show you something. Where are the First Nations, man? Why do they never join my lives? Are you guys not interested in fighting for your First Nation status? Come, I'm ready for you. First Nation and Bantus from Central Africa, come, you bastards. Chela, Kaela, Biela. All these words are in what we call secondary form. Call Bantu Bison, tell him to join. Call Brown Aboriginal, call Larry. You liars, you thieves of identity. There's a primary form. So these words have a secondary form because they have an additional la. Now what that la operates as an action word. This is the stuff that you guys are going to learn when you join my private sessions. What normally happens is, Basudu will say, Hurikwa, to speak. I'm going to show you something quickly. Amakhoza will say, Ukuti ku, to jump. AmaZulu will say, Ukuti ba, Ukuti, I don't know, Ukuti nina. Khurikobe. Or Khuritame. To salute or greet in Sikoni. But you will notice that there's a usage of an auxiliary, ukuti, or huri, or khuri. In Xitsonga, it's going to be kuti or kuri. This is known as an auxiliary, ne? Ukuthi qhu is an auxiliary, is a primary form. Ukugquma would be a secondary form. This is what I'm trying to show you. What this means is that this word, chela, hubiela, no, hurikwa is to speak, not hubulel. Hurikwa. You learn, if you've never heard this word before, now you know it. If you go to Old Sesotho, hurikwa manswi, hurikacha, kaSesotho. Hurikacha is to hide. Ukuthi ngacha in Sesotho. That is to hide. Ne? Hurikabu is to drink a little. In isiXhosa, ukuthi qabu or ukuthi khabu. In Sesotho, ukuthi qa, huri qa is to stare at something. Now we will say, ukuthi qa ngamehlo. Wathi qa ngamehlo. You're staring at me. The point here, Qasha's neck, oh, that is Ngasha. Ngasha was a Qenga's son. Ngasha means to hide, Ngasha. So he stayed there in that region of Qasha's neck. He stayed there. Hurik abu, to wade. Hurik eche, to become extinguished. Hurik eko, to make a sign. You notice that they are using an auxiliary, huri. But this auxiliary has a magic that it does. It allows them to use the primary verbal form. So they don't add any other thing to the verb. It stands on its own, like here. If you're looking here, you will see this word kwa is alone. There's nothing else. Ku is alone. There's nothing else. So you don't have go kuma or go kuma. Now, these words are in the secondary form. When you transfer them to the primary form, all of a sudden they become kya. Cha. If you don't understand it, it's fine. You'll understand it someday. Ah. Yeah. This is how our verbs work. To change a verbal form, you add a suffix. This gives us what we call verbal extensions. So a verb, for example, ukufa, to die. When you're changing its form from the infinitive form ukufa to a transitive form, which means ukufela, you don't change the word itself, you change its suffix. So the suffix become fela. You're dying because of someone else. When you're changing it from a transitive form to a causative form, you have fisa, ukufisa, to cause someone to die. So when you're changing all these secondary forms to a primary form, the suffix changes entirely from kela, kisa, keba to cha. It may be an archaic form that is no longer used today, but it follows the rules to be cha and cha and ka and bia. So huchela, hutela, hubiela generally involves telling someone else. So it is not a primary form. It is a transitive form. There's a subject doing the action to an object. Hubiela muntu, uchela umuntu, uxelela umuntu, utyela umuntu. When you're referring it back into its primary verbal form, you have the form kya. When you're changing it kya to tell someone, you add plus ela. Isiqando sokwenzela. This means that the word kya, cha, ka, and bia is literally the same one in kunkya. Kunkya, it's the talk of the people, how the people talk. That's what we call kunkya. It's a word that we use daily. We just don't use it in its archaic form anymore. We use it in its secondary form. In Sizulu, this would be kunkya. In Sipedi, this would be kumpya. In fact, in Kunkya itself, when you talk, they use ah. So if they say to you, this one can speak the Kunkya language or the language of the Ngongo people. In Kunkya, you say akalla, nkwa Kunkya, akalla, uyakela, he talks. Nkwa, the Ngongo people, Kunkya, their language. So he talks the Ngongo language. Akala. So I'm trying to show you how simple it is. Well, maybe not simple. You have to understand how language works first. But these words, you see, kunkya and kamkake, if I explain them to you, you understand exactly what they are. I promise you, if I explain what tram is the sister word to ikama. In fact, let me show you what tram is. If you didn't know, today you're going to know. When you see it, you can never run away from it. There's people known as tram, ka, ke. Now, ke simply means people. Sometimes it's ku, which is what gives you ba, tu. Sometimes it's nku, which is in ku, umuntu, siqu, ubuqu. Ka is exactly how we use it. Into kabani, umuntu kabani, isizwe si kabani. So ka simply is a possessive form of so and so, of this and that. That is what ka means, right? Now, already, people of, you have to read it backwards. People of, what is tram? It's an animal. It's an oryx. Now, in some people call the oryx nku kama. But if you actually look at the name, if you break it down, you can see nku kama. Kama is tram. The word kama is tram. Kama, yes. So the word tram, it's the word kama. Kama is tram. The sister word is ikama, the harpist. That is its sister word. So the name tram is not something that you guys don't know. It's just that someone hasn't told you that you know it. And that is the problem with the education system. And that's exactly why you should go and enroll in my system. Tell them, Mukoni. Tell them, because you're not going to know these things. And false liars like Mosiah, like Larry, like Brown Aboriginal, like other imposters who are Asian in origin, who are claiming to be indigenous people in this country, imposters who come from Central Africa, imposters who come from Asian slaves, who come from West African slaves, will come and tell you, no, you guys come from, you're not related. Ukuhleka is kuseka. But they don't know that ukuhleka, we also say khacha. When you laugh, we say khacha, which is the root word for ukutakazela, which is the root word for kuhleka. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to tell you what pushes their agenda. You've got old men who are being paid by AfriForum, old men who are being paid by Lex Libertas, old men who are being paid by the First Nation Aboriginal funds to come and lie about our people. If you think this is some nonsensical thing we're doing, sit down. You will see in the next 3 months, you'll come back and be like, hey man, tell us about that Bushman stuff. They are fighting against us. They are stealing our identity. I know platforms that are being built right now. People are here on the live, sitting and watching for 2 hours, but they never say anything. What do you think they're here for? They're here to assess them. He's undoing all the damage. Listen, you don't know what you've just awakened. I'm coming for you, each and everyone. I'm going to mention names now. I don't care. I know you guys, you know. The thing is, you guys know you are not indigenous. You know what you are. There was another one, some Bushman, some Khoisan king with the last name Thomas. He went to Israel and said there's no genocide. How can a Thomas be indigenous to South Africa? There's no Thomas who's indigenous. We know who the Thomases are. They are English descendants. What happened to all the bastards that we had in South Africa? What happened to all the Debais Bastiers? What happened to the Rehoboth Bastiers? There's no Bastiers anymore. You just find Aboriginal First Nation people everywhere. It's not good, man. You are cursing yourselves by claiming things that are far from you. I'm a weapon formed against all of you, and I succeed every single time. Kuchamba silona ngulisa ngocansi kusangahlangwela isidulungu bemhlophe. Kumsuthu kuphala kuhle lendlela iyehlela madoda. Kumfene mazobiwe zabe labafokazi. Kuluncu kumwandla kuhlophe nguvinjwa kusidulungu bemhlophe. Dingowa kulo mayikana wakulo vimbisi wakulo khwale mgodleni wakulo geqa amatye wakulo pheka iphemphem ngenqawano wakulo pheka iqhakuba ngenqawano wakulo kutheuka ngomlimbe entabeni sincola ngomhluzi amanzi ekhona. Camagontwana begazi, I'm gonna drop off now. I don't think I'll do another live today. I'm tired, but I am gonna post this live. I'm probably not gonna do another live tomorrow either way. I'm also tired. You need something from me, you inbox me. Thank you very much.